And here's how Medicare supplements work. It's a little bit different from the plans you're used to up until now. And the one thing you need to remember, if you don't take away anything else from this presentation tonight, is this. A Medicare supplements only job is to pay your share of the Medicare bill or a portion thereof. Now there's a whole bunch of them labeled Plan A through Plan N. And a Plan F is the most common and the most comprehensive. Plan F pays 100% of your share of the Medicare bill. So it pays, if we could go back one slide, it pays the $13.14. It pays the the $335 a day. It pays the $670 a day. It pays an additional 365 days if you get down here. It pays the $183, it pays the 20%, it pays the 15%. Excuse me. So what's left for you to pay? Well, zero. So when you go to your family doctor, what's your copay? Zero. You go see your specialist, what's your copay there? Zero. You go to the hospital for an inpatient stay, you spend a few days in the hospital, what's your out-of-pocket cost? Zero. You go for that outpatient surgery that we talked about, what are you putting out of pocket for it? Absolutely nothing. MRIs, CAT scans, tests, x-rays, emergency room visits, urgent care centers, ambulance rides, helicopter rides. You pay nothing out of pocket. Now here's the nice thing about them. Remember, Medicare has to pay first. Medicare's calling the shots. Medicare's setting the prices. And by prices, what I mean, what they pay the doctors. And folks, here's another little tip. 20% of $100 is always $20. So if the bill is $100, Medicare pays 80 bucks, your share is 20 bucks. It doesn't matter what company is up here, they're paying $20. What that really means to you is that we no longer have to have contracts with doctors. There are no doctor networks, which means that you can see any doctor or any hospital that you choose as long as they accept original Medicare. That's the only requirement. And because there's no networks, you're also not limited to a geographic service area where you have to live and obtain your services. If you have a network type plan now, like an HMO or a PPO, and you want to go get, and you move or travel out of the service area, well, guess what? Your insurance may not work. With Medicare supplements, wherever you travel in the United States, you're covered. They work the same here in Texas as they do in Colorado or Florida or Alaska or Hawaii. And quite a few of them, including the Plan F, have foreign travel coverage, which is not exactly the same as Medicare, but it's better than nothing because original Medicare doesn't pay anything outside the country. But here's the bottom line. Nothing out of pocket. Go to any doctor you want to, any hospital you want to. And the other thing we do not have with Medicare supplements, just like we don't have networks, we also do not have managed care. Now, what that means to you is that with very few exceptions, what the doctor orders is what you get. You see, everything's pre-approved by Medicare in advance. In a book called The Schedule of Medicare Approved Procedures. If the doctor wants to know if something's approved, he just goes to his desk and looks it up in the book. And just about everything that's medically necessary is approved. There are some things that are approved on a schedule. Those are mostly preventative screenings. The best example I can give you is a colonoscopy. Most people, if you're over a certain age and you don't have any risk factors, current medical guidelines say that you only need a colonoscopy about every 10 years. Well, that's about as often as Medicare likes to pay for those. Now, if you do have risk factors and the doctor can justify the medical necessity, well, then Medicare will pay for a colonoscopy every 24 months. But they're not going to pay for one in the middle without it being called a diagnostic procedure, and you pay 20%. So they may turn something down as a screening, but it may be approved as a diagnostic. But what you need to remember is that Medicare has to pay first. If Medicare doesn't pay, neither does your supplement. Now, getting back to the managed care part of it, if Medicare approves it, your supplement is obligated by law to pay your share of the bill. The insurance company has no say in the matter. This company pays that doctor the same as this company, and this company pays that doctor the same as this company, and on down the line. So which brings us to one of these frequently asked questions that always comes up in these seminars is, Ron, if it's apples to apples, why would I want to pay more? And these are not the real prices. This is not the real numbers. They're just made up for the presentation today. But the question is, why would I want to pay more? If the coverage is the same, why would I want to go with one that costs more? And that's very simply answered. It's a fair question. It's simply answered. You don't. Under normal circumstances, you want to go with the cheapest good A-rated company. Now, there may be some B-rated companies in the business that are a little bit cheaper. By a little bit, folks, I mean a little bit, a couple of dollars a month, not a lot. But they're B-rated for a reason. We try to avoid those. But as long as it's an A-rated company that has a good long track record in the company where I can see their history, I can see their history of rate increases, I have a history with their customer service, and then I'm going to recommend the cheapest good A-rated company. Here's what you need to know though. Right now, when you're turning 65, you have a window of opportunity from 6 months before your birthday month to 6 months after your birthday, when you can buy a Medicare supplement plan with no health questions asked. No health questions. As long as your check clears the bank, you got it. But once you pass that 6th month after your birthday, if you want to get a new plan or change companies or change plans, you're now subject to medical underwriting. You have to answer a series of health questions, and based on your answers to those questions, you can be declined. So when you come and visit with me, whether you're coming to my office or whether we're doing it over the phone or over Skype or however we meet, I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions about your health. And if I think that you're healthy now and you can expect to be healthy for a few years, well, I'm going to recommend that you start out with the cheapest good A-rated company that's out there. Because if this company goes up on their prices, well, we can just go shopping and get you another one. And that's the other little secret here is that all these rates, folks, they all go up over time. Every year you get a little bit older, every year your insurance goes up a little bit. Some of these companies raise their rates a little more quickly than other ones. And some of these companies, they start out very low in the beginning. They're kind of lowballing you when you're young and healthy to get your business. They tend to raise their rates a little more quickly than companies that start out a little bit higher. They tend to raise their rates a little bit more slowly. So say, for example, and I'm just going to make this number up, so don't hold me to this. In 5 years, this company that was the cheapest when you were turning 65, they've raised their rates 5 times. So they now cost more than this company that wasn't the cheapest when you were turning 65. Now, if you're healthy and you can answer those health questions favorably, well, that's no problem. We'll just go shopping and find you one that's cheaper. But if you're not healthy, then you may be stuck with it paying that higher price. Does that make sense? So when you come to see me, we're going to have a good long talk about your health. And if I feel that you're going to be able to answer those questions 5 years from now, then I'm going to recommend the cheapest good A-rated company. But if you're unhealthy now, or I feel like maybe 5 or 6 years from now, you may not be able to answer those health questions favorably, I may recommend that you start out somewhere over here. Because eventually this company is going to cost more than this company. And if your health is taking a turn for the worse, then you may be stuck paying that higher price. And that's my job. That's what I do. I keep track of all these companies and their prices, and I make sure that you have the best company at the best price every single year. And that's Medicare Supplements.